lying. What do you mean I'm being chained to the ceiling in a meat freezer in a gown right now at 9 a.m. downtown and this YouTuber just smoked their dead parent? What do you mean?
Well, is this friendship over then if we talk about them? And I was like, honestly, that was awful.
Buckle up, because this story, it's far from over. Just when we thought we'd seen it all, there's another twist in the never-ending drama surrounding Escape the Night. We've had Tana spilling the tea, Trisha throwing in her 2 cents, and Joey and Rosanna jumping straight into the fire. But now, Rosanna has more to say, and things are getting messy. Let's rewind for a second. If you've been out of the loop, here's what you missed. Escape the Night has been tangled in controversy ever since Tana Mongeau aired out her alleged nightmare on set. According to her, the experience was nothing short of a horror movie, except this time, the fear wasn't scripted. Picture this. Tana chained to the ceiling in a freezing meat locker at 9 a.m., dressed in a gown, and staring at an actor in a horror mask. Sounds like just another day in Hollywood, right? But then, according to Tana, this masked figure leans in and whispers something straight out of a psychological thriller. "This is my dream, having you chained up." And then, one chilling word. Perfect. Cue the collective shudder. But that wasn't even the wildest claim. Tana also alleged that another cast member, supposedly Rosanna Pansino, smoked the ashes of a deceased loved one. Yeah, you heard that right. As expected, the internet lost it. Meanwhile, Joey Graceffa, the mastermind behind Escape the Night, initially brushed off the accusations. When asked about Tana's claims on Just Trish, his response was, well, less than sympathetic. Honestly, whatever, she can complain. It's just bringing attention to the project. Not exactly the reaction you'd hope for when someone's describing their real-life horror story. And that dismissive attitude? It did not sit well with Tana. She fired back, doubling down on her claims and calling out Joey for his indifference. And then, Rosanna entered the chat. She dropped her own video. And let's just say, she was not holding back. According to Rosanna, Tana's story, full of exaggerations. While she acknowledged the harassment claim, she wasn't buying the idea that everyone on set was creepy. In fact, Rosanna had this to say, if you feel like every interaction was weird with every single person, maybe it's not them. Ouch. But it didn't stop there. Enter Trisha Paytas. Never one to stay silent, Trisha jumped in, accusing Rosanna of downplaying Tana's experience. And here's where things get even messier. Trisha, who's been loud about standing up for alleged victims and other controversies, Mr. Beast, found it disgusting that Rosanna would be so quick to dismiss another woman's trauma. And just like that, the internet had a new debate. Was Tana telling the whole truth? Or was this another case of reality being stretched for a viral headline? Was Rosanna genuinely skeptical, or just protecting herself from the backlash? And perhaps the biggest question, does Escape the Night have even darker secrets waiting to be exposed? We need to see the x-rays, and make sure they're not doctored. Stay tuned, because this drama, far from over. If you thought the Escape the Night chaos had wrapped up, think again. We've heard from Tana, we've heard from Trisha, Joey, Rosanna, and just when you thought it couldn't get messier, Rosanna is back. So, let's break it all down. In case you missed it, Tana started this firestorm when she took to a podcast to spill the tea about her nightmare on set. She described being chained up in a freezing meat locker, while an actor in a horror mask whispered unsettling things to her. And not just your everyday creepy. He literally told her, "This is my dream, having you chained up." Yeah, let that sink in. But that wasn't even the wildest part. Tana also hinted at another bizarre moment, one involving a certain YouTuber allegedly smoking, well, let's just say very sentimental ashes. Fans immediately put 2 and 2 together and linked this to Rosanna Pansino. But the controversy didn't stop there. When Joey was confronted about all this, his response, a dismissive shrug, and a comment about how it was bringing attention to the project. Yikes. Not one to stay silent, Rosanna fired back. In her response video, she made one thing clear. What happened to Tana on set was wrong. She fully believed the harassment claims, but the rest, she wasn't buying it, especially the part where Tana said every single crew member gave off creepy vibes. Rosanna was there, and according to her, those interactions were perfectly normal. Her take? If every person you meet seems weird, maybe it's not them. Ouch. Of course, this didn't sit well with Trisha. She found it disgusting how Rosanna seemed to undermine Tana's experience. And the hypocrisy? Loud. Rosanna has spoken up for victims in other controversies, so why was she suddenly skeptical now? The backlash was swift and brutal. Feeling the heat, Rosanna clarified her stance. She stood by Tana's harassment claims, but admitted she could have worded things differently. Her biggest concern? Tana's sweeping accusations about the entire production crew. According to Rosanna, these were hardworking professionals, people who didn't deserve to have their reputations tarnished over the actions of one person. And let's not forget, Tana is in a position of privilege. Throwing around claims like these, it's not just drama, it can ruin careers. Then came the wardrobe debate. Tana claimed she was forced into an outfit she was uncomfortable with. Rosanna shut that down fast. According to her, Joey gave them full control over what they wore. The wardrobe team provided multiple options. Tana had free rein to pick whatever she wanted. So, was she really forced into anything? Or was this just another dramatic embellishment to spice up a podcast episode? This story just keeps twisting, turning, and getting messier by the minute. Who's telling the full truth? Who's stretching it for clicks? One thing's for sure, when influencers collide, the drama never sleeps. But here's the real fallout. Imagine working your whole life in an industry where your name is barely recognized. Then, in an instant, it's dragged through the mud for something you didn't even do. That's the reality for many crew members whose names will roll in the credits when this film drops. They don't have millions of followers to clear their names. And yet, thanks to one viral moment, their reputations are suddenly on the line. Rosanna wasn't going to stay silent on this. And then, things took an even messier turn. Tana Mongeau's podcast started as just another episode, but what came next? Ignited a wildfire. One of the most controversial moments? Rosanna felt deeply betrayed, mocked, reduced to nothing more than that YouTuber who smoked her dead dad, a claim so outrageous that it left her completely devastated. And just like that, this story isn't over. Who's lying? Who's twisting? Who's next? Because at this point, anything is possible. Now, let's be clear. Grief is complex. People process it in all kinds of ways. But to have her personal way of mourning twisted into something criminal, cannibalistic even, that's not just a jab. That's a full-scale character assassination. Rosanna didn't hold back. She thought she and Tana were friends. They'd worked together. She'd invited her to family events, trusted her. And now? She was blindsided in front of millions. This wasn't just petty influencer drama. This was personal. But wait, there's more. Another bombshell dropped when Rosanna addressed Trisha Paytas. Trisha had criticized a dismissive comment Rosanna made about downtown LA. At first, Rosanna stood by what she said. But then, new information came to light. She hadn't realized the depth of Trisha's past experiences there. And the moment she did, she admitted she was wrong. A rare moment of accountability in an industry where doubling down is the norm. However, the real firestorm? It wasn't just Rosanna, it was her boyfriend. In her initial video, he was right there, throwing out misogynistic remarks about Tana, questioning her claims, and fueling the narrative that she was exaggerating. But when Rosanna returned with an apology, he was nowhere to be seen. Not a word. Not a single acknowledgement of his role in the backlash. And people noticed. This left many feeling like something was missing. Apologies are one thing. But accountability? That's another beast entirely. So, where does this leave us? A whirlwind of accusations, betrayals, and damage control. The internet may have a short memory, but the scars of public humiliation, they tend to linger. One thing's for sure, this saga isn't over. The real question is, who will be left standing when the dust finally settles?